Good morning, everyone. This is Gokul Manikandan from Second M Farm for my next Journal Club presentation. The title of my presentation is A Review of PCR Testing and Diagnosing Diseases, that is COVID 19. Before getting into the introduction, let me give an overview of the basics. What's a virus and a genetic material? Virus is nothing but a microscopic package of genetic material surrounded by DNA or RNA. DNA is nothing but two stranded molecules that is found in all organisms. RNA is nothing but one stranded molecule that copies the genetic codes. There are different variations of RNA that do the copying, transcription, and the transmission processes. The next one is the introduction. Polymerase chain reaction, that is the PCR, is not a new process. It was invented by Mullis in 1983 and it was patented in 1985. In simple words, the PCR is used to make several billion copies of DNA or RNA. If we properly understand the words itself, it's possible for us to explain the whole process. The word can be divided into two: polymerase and chain reaction. Polymerase is nothing but an enzyme that makes the polymers of any molecule. In this case, it's the DNA. The next one is the chain reaction. Chain reaction is nothing but the exponential multiplication of reactions and makes billions of copies. Now, we might get a question: why do we need billions of copies? Because we need billions of copies in order to detect the virus that's present in the blood sample. So, next one is the principle of PCR. PCR makes it possible to obtain multiple copies of DNA fragment from the extract. It is a technique for obtaining large amount of specific DNA sequence from a DNA sample. Things that are needed to perform a PCR, that is a thermocycler, commonly known as a PCR machine, a Taq polymerase, primers, DNA templates, nucleotides, and a double-stranded DNA binding tie. This PCR is not only used in diagnosing diseases, it is also used in crime investigations, genetic research, and molecular biology as well. So now let me explain Taq polymerase. Taq polymerase is nothing but a DNA polymerase. PCR of course requires a DNA polymerase enzyme that makes DNA replication using the existing fragment strands as templates. The DNA polymerase from which typically used is called as Taq polymerase. It is obtained from a heat tolerant bacteria known as Thermus aquaticus. Why are we choosing this specific bacteria is that this bacteria usually lives in hot springs and its DNA polymerase is very much heat stable and it is most active around 70 degrees Celsius in that range. So this heat stability is mostly ideal as high temperatures are needed for this reaction to happen. So this is the reason why we select this specific bacteria, that is Thermus aquaticus, for this reaction. The next one are the primers. The primers is one of the main components of this PCR process. DNA polymerase requires primers in order to initiate the reaction because it can only propagate the reaction but cannot initiate it. It is not possible for the polymerase to initiate the reaction. That's why primers are of most important part of this reaction. PCR primers are very much short sequence of nucleotides. It's usually around 10 to 30 nucleotides in length. Primers provides a starting point for DNA synthesis. It also helps us to choose exact portion of amplification. Here we use two primers in each PCR reactions. The next one is a DNA template. DNA template is nothing but the original DNA which we want to amplify. It is the parent DNA. The next one is nothing but the nucleotide. As we all know, nucleotides are the building blocks used for the DNA synthesis. Next, let me give you a real world example. Here, a person is suspected to have attacked by a virus. In today's scenario, let's take it as a coronavirus. How do we find it? We take the blood samples from him, but the problem here is we do not have enough DNA fragments to detect the virus present in the blood sample. So what do we do is we provide the blood sample into the PCR machine, and the process happening in the PCR machines is very simple. They are divided into three phases. They are denaturation phase, hybridization phase with primers, and an elongation phase. The first one is the denaturation phase. Denaturation phase, in the denaturation phase, the separation of two strands of DNA is done. We raise the temperature to 94 degrees Celsius. In this phase, the double stranded DNA is denatured into a single stranded one. The next one is the hybridization phase with primers. In this phase, we cool down the reaction mixer to about 40 degrees Celsius. In this, the primers are used to mark the specific areas of the DNA that we want to amplify. The primers attach to the DNA template by a method known as complementary base pairing. In this way, we are able to select the particular area of the DNA that we want to amplify. The next phase is known as the extension phase. For this phase, of course, we need nucleotides. In this phase, again, we raise the temperature to 72 degrees Celsius so that the Taq polymerase extends the primers, synthesizing new strands of DNAs. This method is repeated, like heating, cooling, and then heating. What's the result of this is, as you can see, first, from one DNA, we got two double-stranded DNAs. One is the original and the other is the new DNA formed by the Taq polymerase. These steps are repeated again and again and again. This is what makes PCR a chain reaction. Basically, the products of the first reaction are used as a substrate for the next one. So now, when we cool down the temperature for annealing, we now get 4 single-stranded DNAs. The Taq polymerase comes in for extension again. The substrates for the enzyme are also double nav. So from the second cycle of the PCR, we'll be able to get 8 new strands of DNAs. So these steps are repeated again for about 25 to 30 cycles. It takes about 2 to 4 hours. From this, we are able to produce billions of copies of DNA fragment that we need in order to detect the presence of virus in the blood sample. All this is possible from just a single DNA itself. After all these processes, the temperature are lowered to about 15 degrees Celsius in order to store the products. In order to check whether the PCR generated correct products or not, agarose gel electrophoresis method is used. With some little practical modifications, we can make different types of PCR techniques. They are nested PCR, inverse PCR, RT-PCR, asymmetric PCR, quantitative PCR, quantitative real-time PCR, touchdown PCR, assembly PCR, and intersequence specific PCR. As you can see, I have specified the third one, that is the reverse transcription PCR, because we are using this method only now in order to diagnose the coronavirus. So let me explain the real-time PCR, RT-PCR, that is the real-time reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction. It is a laboratory technique combining the reverse transcription of an RNA into a DNA and amplification of specific DNA targets using the PCR. It is primarily used to measure the amount of specific RNA. This is achieved by monitoring amplification reaction using fluorescence. Next comes the data analysis of RT-PCR. In this, the double-stranded binding dye is used in order to stain the DNA. The dye used here is known as Cyber Green 1. This dye, what this dye does is it produces strong fluorescence when it is attached to double-stranded DNAs, and it also produces light fluorescence when it is attached to single-stranded DNAs. What this does is this results in increased fluorescence when the reaction is complete, and when enough amount of double-stranded DNA is formed, the fluorescent intensity is also parallelly increased. In this, as we are using fluorescence as well, the thermocycler is coupled with the light source and a fluorimeter. During the DNA amplification monitoring, fluorescence intensity is monitored. These are all the different phases of amplification curve. They are lag phase, exponential phase, linear phase, and a plateau phase. The first one is the lag phase. During the lag phase, the amplification, of course, it occurs. But what's the problem is the signal is not strong enough in order to be detected. The second one is the exponential phase. It is the phase in which it produces a detectable amount of fluorescent signal over the background. The next one is the linear phase. As we already saw in the exponential phase, the DNA fragments are starting to getting amplified. In the linear phase, it remains stable and keeps on increasing. In the plateau phase, all the chemicals given are starting to exhausted and the curve starts to flatten up. This is the amplification curve. The green line which goes in the middle is known as the amplification curve. In this, there are four important areas I've mentioned. That is the exponential phase, non-exponential plateau phase, threshold line, and a CQ value. Exponential phase is a phase in which the DNA fragments are getting multiplied exponentially and it keeps on increasing, and at a point in which a chemical is starting to decrease, the curve also starts to flatten, and that's the point which is known as non-exponential plateau phase. And next comes this threshold line and CQ values. These two are the most important things in detecting the presence of the DNA strands or a virus. Threshold line is nothing but a point above which the fluorescence can be detected over the background fluorescence. And CQ value is nothing but a point at which the threshold line and the amplification curve intercept. It is known as the CQ value. Why it is so important? It is if a blood sample of the person that we took had a virus, then of course it could have the DNA fragments. Due to the PCR process, these DNA fragments are getting multiplied each time exponentially, and it crosses the threshold line. If the sample crosses the threshold line, then the report is said to be positive. If not, the report is said to be negative. This is the importance of the threshold line and the CQ value. If we obtain the CQ value for the sample that we got from the human, then he seems to have attacked from the virus. This is the RT-PCR report. This is how it looks like. You can see there are overlapping of the amplification line. The reason behind this is the same sample is given multiple times just in order to ensure the accuracy of the reports. Sometimes the reports obtained can be a false report. So in order to ensure the accuracy of the report, the same sample is given multiple times. This is a real RT-PCR report looks like. As you can see, in the x-axis we have the number of cycles. In the y-axis we have the real fluorescent units. So these are all the references that I have took, and I will be also be uploading the main article with which I have referred along with this presentation. So please refer to that as well. So if you have any doubts with this presentation, please let me know in the comment box below. I'll try to give a proper explanation in that. So until my next presentation, it's me, Gokul Manikandan, signing off. Thank you.